Hey, so I found the missing cave painting. It looks like this. Years later, a job at the carnival. Resume game. Okay, so we've gone quite far, and you all don't need to see another ridiculous adventure through the cave. But you do need to know the time traveler's story. So let's finish with her, and then we'll go over a few things. She cannot teleport past the dog. Not a big surprise. She also... Oh, right. The time traveler's ability. She can phase through stuff. This is also just about as useful as what the monk can do. But there are certain things she can't phase through. Either they're too thick or they're made of materials she can't do that with. Right away, we're making our way through here. To the Time Traveler's Museum. Hey guys, so right. The Time Traveler.
No doubt you have realized by now that here in the cave, the rules of time and space are not exactly, well, set in stone, so to speak. But for the time traveler, time and space are mere playthings, tools manipulated to pay back petty slights. So, prepare yourselves for a tale of revenge that spans 1,000,000 years. And remember, even with the best of intentions, time travel can be unpredictable. And with the worst of intentions, well, I guess we're about to see.
Come on. Jealousy runs deep. Oh, right. So the time traveler stuff. Behold the future! Arriving at work. Greatest employee of all time. Not him. The stings of accolades from co-workers.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to scare you.
I was about to say, would you calm down? Alright, so first things first, we're gonna need this. Because, as you saw, this time machine needs a battery. So let's give it one. And now, time itself is our plaything. Let's go to the future!
Behold, science!
Oh, it's you. I thought we fired you. Still sore about getting passed over for greatest employee of all time? I'm sure you saw my commemorative photo on the way in. Don't feel bad. My family has been working here for generations. I take that back. Do feel bad.
Yeah, this guy is a jackass.
Well, personality must not be a big hiring point here.
Yeah, see, even the cave is like, this guy's a jerk. So let's explore this place a little bit.
Although no actual Rang funds have ever been uncovered, top archaeologists believe they were commonly used as some kind of head accessory from the 1940s to the late 2100s. They came in several styles and colors to project the mood of the wearer. Upon entering a social setting, each person would assess the crowd by the types of ring fusts they were wearing. It is thought that World War I was started when Sir Winston wore a particularly inappropriate ring fust at a cocktail party with the American President Franklin D. Bon Jovi.
So, I hate this place for two reasons. The first of which is Mr. Employee of the Month over there. The second of which is this nonsense. Look, I get it. We make a lot of speculations in science and paleontology and archaeology. It's complicated. How else could it be? But, this is not what we would determine from Ow!
No touching the exhibits.
I need that key to get out.
Archaeologists have yet to determine the original use of the smurg. Thousands of these strange artifacts have been recovered at ancient dig sites around the world. People living in long-gone eras often carried several in their pockets at all times, leading some experts to attribute to the smurg a religious or mythological significance. Other historians dismiss this reasoning, claiming a more mundane use by teenage boys to twirl and braid their hair. We may never know the true use of the smurg. What do you think it did?
I think it opened doors. So, first of all, I don't think technology would get so distorted and freaked out that we would have time travel and not know what a key is. Remote insider! Like, keys are so ubiquitous that even if the world underwent an apocalypse, we wouldn't forget what they are. I get it, it's meant to be funny, but it bothers me. I also will admit that when we find stuff in the ground and we don't know what it is, and it's like, oh, I guess this had religious significance, when who knows what it had. I'm just trying to say, we wouldn't forget what a key is.
Hey kids, smell like a real live dinosaur with our newest interactive exhibit experience. Dinosaurs existed over 10,000 years ago, when they roamed the world's highest mountain peaks in search of fruits and berries. Dinosaurs were social animals that lived in groups governed by a rigid organizational structure. An alpha dinosaur was the lord of his tribe, leading foraging trips and assigning tasks. Fun fact, dinosaurs required no sleep and had to keep in nearly constant motion to survive, much like the Amazon forest-dwelling penguin.
Forest-dwelling penguin, eh? Things sure have changed in 500 years. Alright, well, we can't do much without our friends here in the future. So why don't we go back to the past?
This exhibit features the ancient combustion engine, or as it was commonly known at the time, the Dino Hibernator. In the early 21st century, humans used these primitive engines to power everything from toothbrushes to toasters.
Got my own
Even
hover
elevators.
parking spot. Came with getting greatest employee of all time.
Don't know what the deal with this arcade is. But it's cool that it's up here. Alright. So, right, back to the past. Gonna take you back to the past. Now, we saw that our friends...
Ah, prehistory. My formative years.
Your formative years. Well, you are a cave. Nothing over here. But there's also nothing over here. Hey, you know how stalactites form, right? They take millions and millions of years of water dripping down, leaving mineral deposits behind. Let's not let that happen. And I don't want to do too much into the past until we have our buddies. So let's go back to the present. And, hey look! That thing is no longer there. And that's roughly the structure of how this is going to work. Now, something very important for you to know. Anyone who is standing inside the time machine will go when the time machine travels to another time. So just keep that in mind.
Got my own hover parking spot. Came with getting greatest employee of all time.
I'm with kicking you in the face. I thought there would have at least been a cave painting down here. Oh. Oh, okay. So, there is actually an achievement you can get in the time travelers area.
Now you smell like a stick.
Got my own hover parking spot. Came with getting greatest employee of all time.
Well, that was your fault. Now you smell like a smelly dinosaur.
Don't touch any of the exhibits.
Oh, but you see, I need to. Yes.
Now you smell like a stinky old dinosaur. Isn't that great?
It's really not. But now that we smell like a dinosaur, one thing you didn't see in the past is that there is a dinosaur back there. Even though dinosaurs and humans didn't live at the same time, and you saw what was clearly a statue of a human. We'll get to that in a second. Jump and jump and jump and jump.
Got my own hover parking spot. Came with getting greatest employee of all time.
Also, this stink only applies for a little while, so keep that in mind. It will eventually wear off. But the time traveler doesn't need it.
Log ahead of his time. Log need more shape for wheel.
We're just gonna move this here. Oh right, that happened.
Now you smell like a stinky old dinosaur.
Who? Oh right, I forgot. Skeletons get left behind. For the millions of years your character is theoretically sitting there waiting for everyone else to do their job. I think that's hilarious.
I heard voting on the GEOAT committee was unanimous.
I literally cannot stand that guy. Aha! Another cave painting. A fake hero flees. Well, now that we smell like a... God damn it. Well, now that we smell like a smelly dinosaur, we're attractive to smelly dinosaurs. Hey, is that it? Oh, yep, he does that. Let's try that again.
This will be the greatest creation.
I'm sure it will be, but I have better things to do. Hey. And he's dead. And after a million years, he turns into oil. Which is technically not true, because that's not how oil works. Dead dinosaurs usually turn into coal. Alright. Well, we had that combustion engine up top, so we need to get the oil into it. They have an exhibit on buckets. And, oh hey! Let's make a well. And now, when you travel back to the future...
Yep, greatest employee of all time. They don't give that.
Greatest pain in the ass. See, there's now this, and also the hillbilly is still there, doing his job. So yeah, not fully there yet. Looks like it decayed after a little while. Oh, the speaker does say something different this time too.
Here you can see the latest addition to our collection, a newly discovered Rainfust factory.
Newly discovered thousands of years old, but it only appeared 2 days ago. Alright, so now we go to the present, and we gotta make sure that rock is still out of the way. Or that the bucket is suspended. And hey!
This is thought to be the only remaining rainforest in existence, and was recently unearthed beneath this very museum. The discovery has driven historians to radically revise their theories as to the Rainfust's function. Experts now believe the artifact was used in a primitive and dangerous form of recreation. Children would hurl the Rainfust at one another, hoping to land the open end on an opponent's head. A hole-in-one, as it was known. Fortunately for today's youth, such barbaric traditions have been lost to history.
I'm sure you have your own barbaric traditions though, right? Alright, let's go get that oil. I need the oil! I've got to say, as much as I hate the shenaniganery of the museum and the dickishness of the greatest employee of all time, I do actually love the concept of solving puzzles through time. Oh, it's the elevator call button. That's okay, we don't need it. But he was trying to make a wheel, right? His ancestor in the distant past. So let's show him a wheel.
Finally cleaning out your desk, huh? Well, maybe I'll see you around sometime. Probably not, though.
Oh, you'll see me around sometime. That time is never! No, use the time machine. There we go. Did not realize this would be so heavy! Oh, by the way, as you might have noticed, the Time Traveler has a secondary special ability. It doesn't really do anything besides aesthetics, but she doesn't fall into water or over long spaces.
Wheel! Thog love wheel! Thog need invent patent, then patent wheel!
What was I saying? I can't remember. Must not be that important. But he's just over there hugging his wheel. He knows what he needs to do now, right? Well, so do I.
And that's that. All of that poor caveman's descendants are dead forever. What's done is done. There's no going back on that decision now. Well, unless someone else screws around with the timeline some more. You know, time machines really take the fun out of trying to teach hard lessons about consequences.
They can, yeah. But consequences? Who needs to worry about those? What could possibly go wrong with killing the inventor of the wheel? See? Now I'm greatest employee. Of all time. Of all time. And
Finally, the key out of this chronologically contorted collapse of continuity. All it took was the complete eradication of a family line dating back countless millennia. To be fair to our heroes, I can understand wanting to get out of here. Oof, that dinosaur smell is really bad.
truly it is. Well, let's go back to the present and open this door. Hey guys, thanks for holding those things for me for a million years. Yeah, see, she hovers over. That's what I was talking about. She hovers over the water, and she'll also hover over small gaps that most other characters would have to jump over. It's actually very convenient. All right. Well, I think it's only fair I meet you at the end, when we finally get some resolution as to what is going on with the time traveler.
I'm no lawyer, but maritime law clearly allows for the abandonment of annoying hermits. And really, the stranding of a lone hermit pales in comparison to what we've seen from these three so far. I do wonder if any lessons have been learned this evening. Maybe by you and me, but I fear not by them. Well, we shall see soon enough.
Indeed we shall. After all of that, we have finally made it to the end. You don't have anything. Go get the key.
Well, you took long enough. I was gonna send out the search party, but they're still looking for the last group. You didn't happen to run into an annoying clown, did you?
We ran into an aroused
We
clown.
just got a new shipment of trinkets that should satisfy your every desire. But I can't give them to you without suitable replacements. So, take this giant novelty-sized key, again, and open the employee's back entrance. I'm sure you'll find some treasures worthy of the cave's gift shop.
So, as you can see, the time traveler's object of desire is a statue. That is the Employee of the Month statue. Let's go get it. After all, that guy's a jerk. Oh, we don't need to go down there. Jump over there, jump over here. And get me some gold. You're gonna have to drop that bone, buddy. Just saying. And then we all know what the knight wants. Come on, pupper. Oh, come on! What kind of glitch was that? There. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Oh, by the way, before we conclude this, let's look through the Time Traveler's Cave paintings. And that's all of them until the end.
You've outdone yourself on this one. After all, possession is 9/10 of the law. That other 1/10,
Who cares?
there you go.
Then if you don't mind, I'm getting out of here. The plan is executed. The trouble with causality. Yep. Turns out without the wheel, you get a nightmare dystopia. Who knew?
You earned it. Returning what you desire most is strongly discouraged. Are you sure that's what you want?
But yeah, this isn't what I desire most.
You really should think about keeping that. It came at great cost. I don't know who else would buy such a, particular item, but I'll take it back. The customer is always right.
That's the two-legged lady's object of desire, not the hillbillies. Love will find you. A house full of little Billhillies. Oh, that's so cute. You only want to make it, huh? I love how the shadow of the ladder just contorts and twists in the background. So, now that they've all made it through the cave, let's talk about our spelunkers themselves, shall we? The hillbilly grew up alone and struggling. He had many siblings and wasn't able to get any individual attention for his parents. So love became a very important thing to him. And the thing he loved most was a big pink teddy bear. Eventually he grew up and became a carny, though it wasn't the best job in the world. You tell me how happy you are when you gotta tell kids they can't get on a ride and then their parents are yelling at you. Oh well. He did what he could, though. And then he met the amazing two-legged lady. But she wasn't the nicest of people, and she kept turning him down. Although, who knows if she was nice or not? She just kept turning him down. It's entirely her right. She was kind of stuck up. So the hillbilly realizes that one of the reasons they love her is he and her share a love for teddy bears. So he got her the biggest, best teddy bear he could. And it was then that he saw she was with the man of ordinary strength. Now, if the hillbilly decided to behave himself, he gave up on her, realizes he can't have her. And in time, a new woman finds him. And she and him fall in love and raise a full happy house of little Billhillies themselves. How lovely. Hopefully he's a better dad than his was. However, if he gives in to his rage and his lust, he burns the entire carnival down, building by building, until nothing remains. The hillbilly's sin is lust. He is blinded by his desire. Next up we have the scientist. She represents gluttony, and I will tell you why eventually. But her story may be familiar to someone in this world. She comes from her own. After a long and arduous time studying and learning and working hard, she recognizes the power of the atom. And it is in this she receives unlimited power, top prize in science, and wealth and fame beyond her imaginings. So many people want to get in on her secret of the atom. And she is, of course, more than happy to oblige. However, none of them quite have that big amount of green she was hoping for. You see, the difference between gluttony and greed is with gluttony, you want more of what you already have. Gluttony is filling yourself. Regardless, she decides to contact the military and use her invention as a weapon. And with this, she gets an unlimited budget for further research and her own personal gain. If she continues down this path, nuclear Armageddon is more or less assured, but at least she has a lot of money. Also, I like how the name of the boat is the Lil Oppenheimer. Anyway, if she decides against it, she tears up her contract with the military, not letting them use her power, and instead dedicates her scientific discoveries only to the betterment of mankind. How sweet. If only that had happened here. The Time Traveler. Her sin is another one of the more obvious ones. Some of them are harder to figure out. But she is envy. In the year 2701, the Museum of Ancient History is a place of world renown and very much importance. Everyone wants to go there. And the one there is the greatest employee of all time. A cruel and selfish and stuck-up jackass of a man. And it can be really hard to hear your coworkers praise and praise and praise somebody when you work just as hard. She deserved that reward. She earned it. And it was his family that got him it. Nepotism, she thinks, is responsible for it, and not his work ethic. Which may or may not be true. But regardless, she hatches a plan, sneaking into the museum to acquire the time machine and head back into the past, where she murders him. And it turns out, if you murder the inventor of the wheel, crazy shit can happen. So her future is a mess, and it's all her fault. Guess she'll have to go back in time and fix that, even though she was the one who made it a problem in the first place. However, if she decides that maybe, just maybe, this guy, he may not be the best, but maybe he does deserve what he has, or at the very least, she doesn't need to be killing him over it. She learns to respect him for who he is. And yeah, maybe he's still a bit of a jackass, but he doesn't deserve to die, and certainly his ancestors and every one of their descendants don't. Next up is the Knight, who symbolizes sloth, in my opinion. The Knight was just a fair peasant boy working hard and living on his farm, when one day, a knight accidentally dies on his lawn. Seeing an opportunity, he decides to dress up as a knight. It's a playful little deception at first, going around pretending to be the hero, but he learns quickly that this is more complicated than he was led to believe. You see, he's supposed to be a hero. He's supposed to be helping people. He's supposed to be saving lives. But he's not. He can't. He's just a peasant boy. He doesn't know how to use a sword. But he is still praised and honored and loved as a knight. As the knight who fell off his horse and died. And it turns out that people want a knight for a fight. Running and hiding and fleeing, he eventually finds a kingdom who needs a hero, and they call upon him to take up the sword and fight. If the knight continues his ruse, he gets in over his head, and the dragon kills him, And the people, expecting him to have succeeded, or at least not to have failed as miserably as he did, also all die. Oops. So yeah, the knight kind of screwed the pooch on that one. Oops. But if the knight is honest and reveals his truth and admits to trying to work a little harder, eventually the people come together and slay the dragon themselves, and he gets a little reward for his troubles. Maybe the heart of the princess entirely, who knows? Hard to say. Regardless, he learns his lesson. Next up we have the twins, who symbolize wrath. The twins are cute little children who, while their parents may or may not actually be overbearing, attempted murder is certainly not the way to solve that problem. Maybe they're not old enough and wise enough to recognize that, but they don't care. They're going to continue to attempt murder. They want to go outside and play with their friends and have fun, and they hate the rules and restrictions that their parents impose upon them. And without the parents there, well, they wouldn't have to deal with that. And so they make their way to the cave and acquire the rat poison. And that will help them. But the situation turns a little bit more restrictive than instead of how it worked out in our scenario in the game. They are forced to eat their own poison food. And if they don't give in to their wrath, they admit what they've done, admit the soup is poisoned, and grow up a little bit, realizing that even if their parents are harsh, they have their reasons at least. However, if they continue on their wrathful ways appropriately, they all die. Wrath can poison and kill the heart of yourself just as much as it does others. Next up is the adventurer. The adventurer represents greed. She wants all of the fame, all of the glory, all of the love for achieving these wonderful things. And that upsets her partners, who eventually banish her. And instead of going through the long and dangerous trek out of the jungle full of snakes, she decides, you know what? I'm going to plan how to kill these bastards. So she sets up the trap, sets up the spikes and the dynamite and the snakes, and she waits. If she surrenders to her greed, her partners are eliminated, and she alone comes out with all the fame and fortune she could have desired. Which I think is interesting. The adventurer is the only one whose story has a happy ending, no matter which choice she takes, at least in terms of how she comes out. Look at that smile. She doesn't care what happened. Yeah, she's a horrible person, but she didn't suffer any consequences for what she did, unlike everyone else. The fame she desires most, even. I think that's interesting. But if she realizes that maybe murder isn't an appropriate solution because she just wants shit, she warns them about the trap. And she becomes a little bit of a better person, insisting that her co-workers also get some of the fame and glory for what they've done. Bully. And last we have the monk. The monk was a young orphan boy who ended up at a monastery temple, being raised to be a monk like everyone else. Apprenticed to the supreme master of the temple, he worked hard, but unfortunately he was uncoordinated, unfocused, and otherwise just a bit of a mess. He tried very hard, but it just wasn't in him to let go of his pride. For you see, pride is the monk's sin. Anger welled up within him as he could continue to not accomplish the tasks in the way he saw. And all he wanted was recognition and power. And then the day came where the inheritance was passed on to someone else. And if he gives in to his pride, in a fit of rage, he kills his master, his father. But he does become the dark master of the temple, giving in to his emotions and forgoing the path to enlightenment. However, if he can learn to accept himself as he is, he finds his own version of enlightenment. Inner peace with the fact that he may not be the most graceful, but he is at the least himself. And it is from this inner peace that he too is eventually recognized as a successor to the temple. And I think this is my favorite story. Because either way, the monk becomes the supreme ruler of the god of the temple, the master, the grand master. That's what I'm looking for. But in this one, he earns it. Whereas in this one, he steals it. And I think that's a nice contrast. But that was all of our insanity, all of the characters, all of their sins. Which sin do you most relate to, friend? While you think about that, we still have a few more achievements to unlock. So let's go take care of that real quick, shall we? So, there's another called The Weight of the Beast. If you go to the Guess Your Weight game with the Hillbilly, the Knight, and the Time Traveler, holding the wrench, the barbell, and the sledgehammer.
My best guess is 666. Right again.
Your weight will be the number of Satan, and you'll get an achievement for that. It must be these specific 3 with these specific items. Every character has a unique individual weight, and these are the only 3 whose weight combined with the items will make the number 666. Except for the monk, who weighs the same as the hillbilly, but if you don't take the hillbilly, you can't get to this area anyway, so there's that. There's another called Don't Fill Up on Fortune Cookies. This one requires you to have every character have their fortune told by Zevatar.
Greed is a path that leads to poverty of the soul. Your most valuable treasure can be found in friendship. True love will find you only when you stop searching for it. Your love burns so bright, it is blinding you. Honesty is a virtue with unequaled rewards. You can fool most of the people most of the time, but you can never fool yourself. It is folly to attempt to control the future. To forgive is divine. The beauty of science is in its service to mankind. Knowledge is a dangerous thing in the wrong hands. A parent's love is unconditional. You are poisoning your future. Haste and ambition, ill-suited traveler of the mind. Patience is the true path to wisdom.
Enjoy.
There's one last thing I should show you. What happens if everybody takes their object of desire?
Well, you might think of this evening as a failure, but it was not. True, our friends did not learn the lessons they were meant to. They are destined to choose a path that can lead only to misery and disappointment. Not to mention a few lawsuits and possibly an embarrassing reality TV show. But I know you will leave here tonight with a new perspective on the choices to come. Someday, you yourself shall explore my mysterious depths. And when we meet again on that journey, I am confident you will make the right decisions. Because I am the Cave.
And that is almost everything to do in the cave. There is one achievement I did not get. If you can somehow manage to get through the entire game without dying once as any character at all, ever, you will get the achievement, Who Wants to Live Forever? That is... I'm probably able to do it, but I don't have the patience. I recommend taking the Knight, the Time Traveler, and the Monk if you're planning to do that. As not only do they make things quick and easy, they also make things simpler. Like, for instance, the Knight can just not die from fall damage, which is the number one thing that's going to kill you in this game. And a lot of the traps that would kill you in the Knight's area can be handled by the Monk and the Time Traveler. So, good stuff. Again, I leave that up to you. But for now, we have reached the end of our story. I gotta say, I fucking love this game. The music is great and thematic. Each of the characters is a lovable asshole in their own way. And they're all great. I only have 2 complaints. The first is, I really would have liked it if the choices you made in the cave were what determined the ending instead of talking to the shopkeeper at the end. Like, remember how there was that one panel in the adventurer's place that you couldn't step on? Or you could choose not to step on? Like, what if that is what let you get the good ending? That would have been so much cooler, I think. It's kind of awkward to feel forced into these situations, but on the other hand, I can understand what the cave is trying to do. The only other complaint I have is a complaint that is entirely my fault. The game, especially the mine, the zoo, and the island segments of it, get really repetitive when you play them 7 times in a row! So, I needed to take a break. But other than that, this game is great. I love the way it explores this idea of the darkness in the hearts of those people and how you yourself have a little bit of darkness in you. And what decisions you will end up making. Because someday, we must all face our own cave. And hopefully, when we do, we'll make the right choice. I hope I will. So, until then, I bid you all adieu. Come back. Well, we're gonna have a little break. Then, we'll come back for Dia de los Muertos. See you then.